This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some important update to share with you. We'll go over these stimulus check articles, exact date to claim monthly direct payments worth $9,600, and deadline to claim $3,200 payment is just 13 days away. With the midterm elections heating up in less than a week, Gavin Newsom, governor of California, saying that the Democrats' messaging is really bad right now. Republicans are taking the lead in some states with early voting. I'll play some video clips and give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel for more daily, straight-to-the-point updates on matters that financially matter to you. And I'm giving $200 checks to my subscribers. I'll talk more about that later on in the video. But first, Republicans plan an energy agenda designed to keep Democrats on their heels. So House Republicans are also planning to scrutinize how Biden administration deploys the $370 billion in clean energy measures that Congress approved in Democrats' Inflation Reduction Act. So when it comes to what's going to be passed and help out the American people, Democrats and Republicans are trying to put out as much information as possible to get voters to vote. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, a Democrat, saying Democrats getting destroyed on messaging. So what he said here is we're getting crushed on narrative. We're going to have to do better in terms of getting on the offense and stop being in defense. So yeah, not looking good for the Democrats. Looks like in some polls, in Florida polls, looks like Republicans are leading at the moment. So it's not looking too good for Democrats. Anyways, here is the Republican House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy.
Here now with more. House Minority Leader, hopes to be Speaker one day, Kevin McCarthy. Sir, how are you?
I'm good.
So I'm looking at the state of inflation, a 41-year high that was supposed to be transitory, record high gas prices. Now we've also depleted the strategic petroleum reserves. I'm looking at wide open borders, 4.5 million people entering this country illegally. The borders were secure under Donald Trump. I'm looking at no bail laws like we're talking about, defund the police like we're talking about. I'm looking at woke schools versus classical education. And I'm thinking this is the biggest choice election America's had, at least in my lifetime, that I can think of. The left has never been this radical. So why are some of these races as close as they are?
Well, you talked a little bit about the polls, but you also have to talk about what the president said tonight. He wasn't uniting us. The Democrats were dividing us as they moved forward. They just wanted to distract from the disasters they created. All those topics you brought up, I listened to the president's speech. I don't remember hearing anything about inflation, about gas, about border, about fentanyl, about crime, or not even the 98 individuals on the border who are on the terrorist watch list they have caught. What we're really finding in these next 6 days, this is a hinge election. This is defining election like a 1980 election. Which direction does America want to go? That's why we have the commitment to America. We literally spell out what we'll do. Make us energy independent. Give us an economy that's strong. Secure the border. Fund the police. Stop the prosecutors who are woke. Give you a parent's bill of rights. You know what else? Save and strengthen Medicare and Social Security, where the Democrats lie against. Have a government that is accountable. A future that's built on freedom. I think the entire nation should look at what the Democrats have done with one-party rule, look at what the commitment says, and make a decision. And I'm talking to all Americans, not just to Republicans, but independents, Democrats, Green Party. You know this nation can be better. You want to pick somebody who has a plan to turn this nation around, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Kevin, your commitments to America, I've read them. I agree with them. It basically is the America First, Make America Great Again agenda. In other words, returning to policies that were working 21 months ago. I love the fact that every congressman has signed on to it. Now the question is, will you follow through on it? And not only follow through when Joe Biden's president, but follow through when hopefully a Republican is elected, and then it can be enacted into law. Because there was symbolic votes on repealing and replacing Obamacare, and that never became a reality when it mattered in 2017, did it?
No, we got it through the House, but unfortunately in the Senate, it was stopped. Now, our commitment to America promises what we'll do to get out of the House. On our very first day on January 3rd, we're going to vote on a bill. we're going to vote to repeal the 87,000 new IRS agents. Because I believe government should be here to help you, not go after you. Hold our feet to the fire. Remember, after the '94 revolution, it took 3 times putting on the president's desk before they got welfare reform. We're going to continue to fight, move this forward. We need you not just to join with us, but stay with us as we move it through the House to the Senate and the president's desk. But Sean, you're right. I've been watching your show quite some time. Your town halls on these Senate candidates have been tremendous, talking about solutions. It is so important to have the House and the Senate, because it gives us an ability to repeal these regulations with a Congressional Review Act with just 51 votes in the Senate. We can do reconciliation with 51 votes in the Senate and put a bill on the president's desk. We have the appropriation process. So there are a number of ways that we can achieve what we talk about in the commitment, even though the president is sitting in office right now.
What are your thoughts on what Kevin McCarthy had to say? Do you agree, disagree? So things are getting a little bit more feisty because of the midterms coming. And so should big oil pay extra taxes on record-setting profits? So a lot of the oil companies taking their profits and giving it back to the investors, stockholders, in terms of like dividends and stuff. Is that the right thing to do? Or should the savings, the profits, be helping out to the consumers at the gas pump? Anyways, here's the Democrats' perspective on why they think it should not go to stockholders. Take a look.
Yes, it would be great if oil companies invested their profits into green energy and technologies that increase production in a safe way, but they're not doing that. Because while they're buying back their own stock and making it rain on investors with fat dividends, they're also downshifting spending and production. It's a point that Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey made just last week.
Instead of drilling oil wells, these big oil executives are drilling for oil wealth from the pockets of American consumers at the pumps in the United States every single day.
Markey, who's been calling for a windfall tax since the George W. Bush era, is now co-sponsoring a Democratic bill in the Senate to do just that. And the thing is, it's an insanely popular proposal. A March poll of 1,000 voters by the left-leaning League of Conservation Voters found that 87% favored the U.S. cracking down on price gouging and excessive price increases by oil companies. 87%. Not even apple pie polls that well. Taxing oil companies is literally more popular with Americans than apple pie. Don't take my word for it. Just look at what happened when a Fox host brought up with Democratic Congressman Tim Ryan, candidate for Senate in Ohio, this idea of a windfall tax, and brought it up in front of a conservative audience at a Fox town hall on Tuesday night.
Tax that President Biden mentioned, a tax on oil companies' profits. Are you for that?
I haven't looked at exactly what he wants to do. I think the fact that oil companies are making huge profits and having stock buybacks right now, while average person here is paying nearly $4 a gallon, I think that's wrong. And I think we need to crack down. We need to crack down on that.
Cheers from a crowd on Fox for a Democrat advocating a tax on big oil that's being pitched by right-wing conservatives in the UK. I don't normally say this, but not only am I with Joe Biden and Ed Markey and Tim Ryan on this, I'm with the Fox audience too. Windfall tax the energy companies, Democrats. It's a no-brainer. So, why isn't a windfall tax plan already on President Biden's desk? Let's ask one of its biggest advocates, Senator Ed Markey, Democrat of Massachusetts, who is co-sponsoring the Big Oil Windfall Profits Tax Act. Senator Markey, welcome back to the show. There have been several windfall tax proposals bouncing around in recent years, from Bernie Sanders, from Ron Wyden, from others. You've signed on to one introduced in the spring by Sheldon Whitehouse. What does it do exactly, and is President Biden on board with it?
Well, the bottom line is that each one of those three proposals will get the job done. The oil industry has enjoyed $139 billion worth of profits in the first 9 months of this year. Shell, Exxon, and Mobil have enjoyed a threefold increase in their profits in just the first 3 months of this year. And they're tipping consumers upside down at the pump every single day and contributing mightily to inflation in our country. The oil industry is just one of the single most important reasons why inflation is so high. And consumers know it at the pump. They know that they're being stuck up by these companies. So we need a windfall profits tax. It can be any of these configurations, but we just can't allow them to keep all of this money that is ill-gotten, because if that money had just stayed in consumers' pockets, then inflation would be much lower than it is right now.
But is the president on board with the plan? Is Joe Manchin in the Senate on board with the plan?
Well, look at the choice is to just allow the oil industry to engage historic, rapacious exploitation of consumers at the pump every single day for a year, be the major single contributor to inflation, and then they just walk away with their profits. So I just think this is an important statement for us to make in our country. It is
important, especially and I'm just wondering whether the president is on board.
Well, I think that he clearly supports some form of a windfall profits tax. So I'm open to a formulation as long as it recaptures that funding from the oil industry. Kevin McCarthy, or let's put it like this, the head of the GOP, the Gas and Oil Party, he's hoping to win next Tuesday. And at that point, he's not going to say, let's take on the oil companies. He's going to be saying, oh, we're going to have to cut Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all the programs for ordinary citizens in our country, as though they're the contributing factors in a significant way to inflation in our country.
We know the GOP, the Gas and Oil Party, as you put it, are not going to do anything about this. But we also know that not every Democrat is on board. I asked about Joe Manchin. I'd be very surprised if he supported this. Larry Summers, former Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton, worked under Barack Obama too. He has said that taxing oil profits will deter those companies from spending to boost production and supply. Is there any truth at all to that, in your view?
No, there's absolutely no truth to it whatsoever. Right now, the oil and gas industry in the United States has leased an area the size of Indiana for them to be able to drill on. How many of those acres have they drilled on? None. And why is that? Well, because they want to create an artificial shortage so they can boost up profits for their shareholders at the expense of consumers in our country. So if there was any evidence that the oil industry needed incentives to start to drill, well, they've seen it over this last year, and they still are sitting on an area the size of Indiana. And so they don't need any more leasing from the federal government. And the evidence is clear that they're always going to exploit an opportunity. If Putin invades Ukraine, they're going to see, oh, prices have gone up. Let's increase ours dramatically as well out of the consumer's pocket. If OPEC acts in a anti-competitive, antitrust way to increase oil prices, our oil companies will take advantage of that as well. But drilling on the already existing area the size of Indiana for more oil in the United States, oh no, they're not doing that under any circumstances.
So where do you stand with that? Should there be lower gas prices, or should shareholders get a higher dividend? Let me know your thoughts on that. Next up, exact date to claim monthly direct payments worth $9,600. Are you eligible? So this is going on in Coachella, California. So the Coachella Immigrant Families Recovery Program will provide eligible families $400 a month for 2 years. That's going on in California, kind of a universal basic income program. And then here, stimulus update, deadline to claim direct one-time $3,200 payment is just 13 days away. So this is for the child tax credit. If you or anyone you know did not get a COVID stimulus check, just a regular stimulus check 1, 2, and 3, the federal one, or child tax credit, there's payments of about $3,200 depending on how much you're owed. You have until November 15th to file your taxes so that you could get it. Even if it's just a small filing, you didn't make any money and you still want to claim that money, or you know anyone who hasn't gotten the money yet, definitely take advantage of that. Anyways, that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully cheer you up a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I want to tell you the one thing you should do when you're feeling down and you want to follow your wishes. Then do whatever you want. It's a free country here. You can do whatever you want. So bye guys. Have a good night or a good day.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your support. Don't forget, $200 checks. I will be announcing the winners in a few days. If you want to sign up for that, just look at the description down below this video. Follow the instructions. Basically, you got to be subscribed to this channel and my other two channels and comment on this video. But I have more details down in the description below if you want to learn more about that and potentially win a $200 check from me. And yeah, hopefully you have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. If you want to check out any of my other videos, my other channels, click right up here. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.